Hi, loves. Welcome back to Yoga Eat Love. I'm your host, Sabrina Callie. So, if you're listening to this when this episode drops, we are moving into the first full moon of spring this coming week. And there's just something about this moment in this season that I love so much. In today's episode, I want to share with you what's been coming up for me lately and a little bit about leaning into that energy of spring and new beginnings. My own personal experimentations with letting go of media and social media, and how that all relates to this concept of Vairagyam, or detachment, in the yogic tradition. So, spring is that energy of new beginnings, of growth, of things starting to come alive again. And we can start to see this in nature, and we can feel this too in ourselves as that energy starts to build. And this first full moon is like the first real expansion point, where what's been quietly building starts to stretch a little bit more towards the light. And inside Yoga Soul Rising, inside my membership, we're putting this into practice with various different practices, working with the chakras and balancing. And also, we're even doing a sort of impromptu 11-day Durga mantra sadhana practice where we're activating this inner courage and compassion within ourselves through practice. Because here's the thing. Nature doesn't rush or compare herself to others with doubt and fear. She doesn't force, she doesn't push, and yet everything still gets done. Everything blooms when it's ready, with this like unspoken courageousness and authenticity. Think about the daffodil. The daffodil is one of my favorite flowers that blooms in spring. It's one of the first. It's yellow, it's vibrant, it's loud, it's vivacious. The daffodil, as it starts to grow and peek through the soil, doesn't look at the crocus next to it, wishing it could bloom earlier, or compare itself to the cherry blossoms that bloom a little bit later, thinking, oh, when do I get to be that tree that flowers so fragrantly? The daffodil just daffs. It does what the daffodil was meant to do. It blooms when it's her time, when it's ready, and not a moment sooner or later. It stands tall within itself in its own joyfulness, like announcing the arrival of spring and new life is here to the world, like a trumpet ushering in the parade of life. So this is your reminder. You don't have to rush or compare either. You can move slower, you can move with more intention, and still grow in everything you're meant to become. And in yoga and in Yoga Soul Rising, we put these concepts into practice regularly through our asana and yoga practices, through our breath and meditation and mantra, and of course also the way we nourish our body with what we eat. And this is part of our life practice, right? And it's part of our spiritual practices. And again, inside Yoga Soul Rising, I talk about my membership a lot because this is where we activate and we put these practices into real life with each full moon. And especially this one, now that winter is officially over, we're being asked by nature and invited to release and let go. Right? Release and let go of winter. Release and let go of that time that is now behind us. And so something that I've been leaning into deeply, not just this past year, but over the past few years, I would say, and maybe even longer, but definitely more so this year, with real intention, at least, and a deeper awareness, is really stepping away from media and social media. Like really stepping away, letting go of it for days and sometimes weeks on end. And what I've found on the other side of that is wildly awesome. It's like going back in time to when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s. Like before we had these devices attached to our hands all day, every day. So I want to share some of my like top 3 takeaways with you about what I've discovered in this time and how powerful and meaningful it's been. And I'm not saying this so that like everybody hides and runs away from reality and what's going on in the world or what's going on in social media and the media, just to bring some more awareness and attention to it and maybe let go of our attachment to it a little bit for a couple of really big reasons. The first one that I noticed, and I noticed it right away, is that like suddenly I have all the time in the world. There's no more rush, there's no more hurry. It's almost like the world slowed down, or time itself actually has slowed down to a much more manageable and reasonable speed for my body and nervous system to live within. Like there's just more time. And this simple intentional act of putting the phone down, which really started out as like one day a week, as like, let me see how this goes. And I've enjoyed it so much that now it's a regular thing and I've extended it for sometimes days at a clip. There's like magic all of a sudden. There's time and space again. Life is simpler and less chaotic. Like imagine what that would feel like to have more time and space to do or not do all the things, right? The time and space to do the things I have to do, right? Those things in life that we have to do and have to accomplish each day in order to live in this world, right? But like without rush and without hurry. And then also having the time to do the things that I want to do, that feed my inner state of peace and joy and happiness state. And think about how much time we spend or you spend personally for a second scrolling or watching TV. We're in effect like giving away our attention and our life to a machine. Like how many minutes or hours a day could you get back if you weren't giving it away so mindlessly? And it's one thing to be entertained or get that dopamine hit. I enjoy that too, right? I do live in this world as like a modern American woman, and it is fun sometimes and very entertaining. But to not be so affected by it and controlled by it and attached to it. Right? It's like the mindlessness of it. And in effect, when we take a step back, we're extending our lives. So the second thing that's important that I took away from this experience is I noticed that my own independent thinking came back in full force. And this one's really big for me. I don't like being brainwashed or feeling like I'm being brainwashed or told what to do. I like to think for myself. I like to have my own ideas that are rooted in wisdom and experience, right? The experience of life. And this, I do enjoy and really resonate with the ancient wisdom of our culture and history and what we've experienced as human beings and what I've also experienced personally, and not the noise from someone else, like copying and pasting someone else's thoughts or following the herd, like with less comparison and less noise and not that constant sway of input from news reports and advertisements and influencers right there. And whether we notice it or not, it's there when we're putting our attention into that sphere on a regular, consistent basis. Again, we might not realize it. Maybe I'm saying this and I'm hoping that you realize this for your own benefit, not for anybody else's, but we're swayed by those news reports, those ads, those influencers. And if you don't think that you are, just take a moment and think about or notice your thoughts over the next few days. Like, are you thinking about things you wouldn't normally think about because of what you saw on TV or what you saw on social media? And so, what I want to share with you right now is that this independent thinking is really important to us, to me, and hopefully to you too. And if you're listening to this, I think you're with me on this, right? Wouldn't it be nice to hear your own voice again? Like that authentic you. I found that, like just me, authentic me with clarity. Like I could hear my inner voice. Clear vision and sight and thought and perspective that feels like me and not somebody else. And honestly, the mental spaciousness that has come with that feels so good. It's like, oh my God, I can think and I can see and I can breathe again. And it's me. So the third takeaway is that I found that peace, that sense of inner peace, is so much easier to access when no one's constantly telling me what I should buy, worry about, fix, or chase after, right? There's less noise and mental chatter in my life. Even in my practices and daily meditation, this shows up. Like when I sit down for meditation, I'm able to drop into that space between that we sometimes seek, or that we do seek as we're meditating, right? We're what's coming to me right now is that we're chasing that, right? But rather than chasing it, what if it just appeared faster, more easily, and like in a deeper way? So if you've been thinking about doing this, like digital detox or social media detox, I do it. If you're thinking about doing it, do it. I highly recommend it. Even if it's just like a couple hours or one day a week, that breaks the cycle. It'll break it. And as I'm talking about all this, I realized something else during this time, or rather remembered about myself in this time that I've really started to let go of media and social media, is that I'm someone who really needs depth. And my human design echoes this. I need meaning. I need deeper exploration and experimentation and a deeper connection in real life. Like that quick scroll, the short form content, the highlight reel, the trends, it often makes me feel anxious or agitated and comparative and full of self-doubt, and even like fear can sometimes come up. And both in when I'm creating content for my business, with pressure to constantly post or fit into the algorithm and do what the algorithm likes in order to grow. I really don't like that. It doesn't feel natural to me at all. But also in how I'm consuming it, right? Just as a woman in this modern world, what I see on my feed. And I said this already, but I want to say it again. Like sometimes it's fun for a quick dopamine hit or entertainment or for information, but keeping it short and when I'm alone is really important for me. And that's a key here to maintain my own peace and happiness state. And so I was sitting with a close friend of mine recently, and we had just finished a nice family dinner, and we're all sitting around conversing with each other, and she was on her phone the whole time scrolling. And I was a little disturbed by it at first, but I wasn't going to say anything because I didn't want to create conflict or get her into a defensive way. Like, I've learned that sometimes with those that we love, sometimes it's better to just like keep my mouth shut, and I'm okay with that, right? I didn't hold on to it. I let it go, but I want to just tell you this story because I found it really interesting, especially because I've been doing this social media like release. So when she finally put the phone down after like an hour, she said that she was like full of worry and concern, and she was like, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to sleep well tonight. Like, I can feel the anxiety in my throat." And in my inner voice was like, "Yeah, no wonder. You've just been scrolling and giving your attention away to the machine for the past hour instead of spending time with us, like the people you love." So I'm just telling you guys this as my listeners, that this is an example, and I felt this too, and I can see why. And I've decided that I don't want to live in that space. And you're welcome to stay there, and she's welcome to stay there. I'm not going to try to preach to you and tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but I'm just offering this to have a little more awareness and attention if you so choose, right? I've decided that I don't want to live in that sphere. And that's what's right for me. And I've decided that instead of putting my attention mindlessly into an app or a channel on TV that's largely driven by greed and trends and making us stay in this sense of inadequacy and that we need to buy or do more, or in the state of fear that the world is going to end, I choose to consume and put my attention into things that actually create peace inside me, peace in my body and my mind, and expand my consciousness state and expand my mind. And so instead of putting my time in those things, like all this extra time that I have now because I'm not wasting it, I'm going deeper into my own personal practice, my own yoga, meditation, mantra, life yoga practice. I'm going deeper into studying things that light me up, like human design. I keep touching on human design in these episodes if you've been listening, and I think we're going to do something. I know we're going to do something coming up in the next few months. So stay tuned if you want to dive deeper into human design and learn a little bit more about yourself. It's a really powerful, powerful tool. It's like everything I've ever studied combined into one. So what lights me up? Right? Studying things like human design, going deeper into my own practice, listening to long form podcasts like this one that support that expanded state, that support and are aligned in my own growth and evolution in a positive way, because that's what lights me up, right? Listening to like fiction audiobooks that allow me to use my imagination again. Or like sitting with teachers and loved ones in a satsang, right? In a wisdom session, in stillness, in real life conversations. And in doing all of these things, again, not forced, not pushed, they just arose within me. I feel so much more like myself again because of it, without all that anxiety and the worry and the dread of what's going on in the world and how hopeless it can all seem. But instead, I feel more inspired and creative than ever, with the space to hear and heed the calling within, the space to listen to my own inner voice and share what I actually want to share, what's coming up for me. And that space even all led me here to start this YouTube channel so that we could go deeper together. And so all of this brings me into what I really want to talk about today in this season of spring and this first full moon, of letting go of what we don't need, that doesn't really serve us, that doesn't really serve the greater good, so that we can let in what truly matters and makes us happy and feel whole. So let's talk about this idea of letting go. So in yogic philosophy, this concept of letting go is called Vairagyam. That's the Sanskrit word, and it's often translated as non-attachment. And we don't really have a good word for Vairagyam in English, to be honest. Non-attachment doesn't quite grasp the complexity and the depth, which often happens when we try to translate Sanskrit into English. Non-attachment doesn't quite cut it. So for most of us, I've found this a lot with private clients and people in my group programs. This idea of non-attachment, people often think it's like not caring at all, like it's the same thing as apathy, but it's not. Non-attachment, or Vairagyam, is actually the deepest care for yourself, but without the clinging, without the attachment, without the grasping. It's feeling love so deeply within yourself. It's caring so deeply for yourself and those you love that you show up fully present, but without feeling the need to grip and control and losing yourself in the outcomes. So apathy is like this sense of disconnection and indifference, and like a checked out kind of way. Like apathy and hopelessness sort of go together, where empathy and Vairagyam go more together. It's caring so much that you're not willing to become cold. It's not about disconnecting. It's not about disconnecting your heart. It's about connecting with your heart so deeply that you refuse to let anything else disturb your inner state. It's about softening your grip on a variety of things, on almost everything. It's about softening your grip on how you think things should be, or how you think others should be, on what you think you need to what you actually need. Softening your grip on the stories you've been carrying with you your whole life about who you are and who you're supposed to be and who you're supposed to follow. It's about choosing peace over programming. It's loving yourself so deeply that you don't let everything disturb that inner state. And this is a really big concept, right? And I'm aware of this, and I'm really only touching the surface here. There's actually a whole wisdom talk inside Yoga Soul Rising, and we talk about it a lot. If you're a member, make sure to go check it out. If you want to become a member, we'd love to have you. The door is open to you. I will drop the link in the description of this episode for you if you want to check out what we're doing inside. But let's go back to Vairagyam, right? Like, I want to explain this a little bit further today. I like to think about this concept of Vairagyam as, or like a duck in the rain. Like the rain still falls, life still happens, but the water just rolls right off and doesn't soak in through the outer feathers into the inner feathers, right? And that's what this practice of Vairagyam is. The water just beads off. Life is still going to be. People are still going to be people. The world is going to do what it does. But you, when you're practicing Vairagyam, when you're the duck in the rain, you're unbothered by it. Maybe you even laugh at it. You get to stay you, grounded, steady, and clear. And even if something does shake you and the water starts to seep in, it can happen. You just flap your wings and shake it off. You come back to yourself, you return to your practice, and you let it go. Right? You don't let it sink in because you care so deeply about who you are and where you are, and you have so much peace and love inside of you that the water and the rain just beads right off. So I want to give you a little practice. So if you're listening to this over the next 24 hours, try to be the duck, right? Think about the duck in the water and in the rain, right? It just duck dives into the water. It dips its head down. It gets the fish. It comes out. It looks like it's wet, but it shakes it off and it's fine, right? And a duck in the rain, Rick really doesn't seem so bothered by it. It's raining. It's a duck. It doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't affect its inner feathers. So first, notice the weather, right? The weather that's going outside of you and your own internal state. And then second, notice when something pulls you out of that state of peace. And then third, just pause, take a breath in and out, and imagine it or feel it sliding off your back. No story, no attachment. You can even say something to yourself like, not mine, not staying, or I love the idiom. It's from another language. I don't remember which language. If anybody knows this, please tell me. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I love it. Right? Like, not my circus, not my monkeys. I don't have to let it bother me and just let it go. Right? So notice the weather, what's going on outside, what's going on inside. Notice when something pulls you out of your most peaceful state, right? And then pause, take a breath, and imagine it as you exhale, sliding right off your back, beating right off your back. Be the duck. Let the water roll right off without a story, without an attachment, without judgment. And just know that it doesn't have to affect who you are and where you are in life. Just let it go. It doesn't affect you. And as we move through this season, I just want to remind you that we get to continue to yoga, eat, and love together. And I said this before. I mentioned it even in an email that I sent out the other day. I really don't like being pushed or told what to do. It makes me run in the opposite direction. And I've learned that that's actually part of who I am, part of my design, part of my energy, and I own that. And I don't ever want to do that to you. So I will never push, I will never force, but what I will do is leave the door open and the porch light on. And if you feel called to join me, join us in your yoga, eat, love journey, come on in. We'd love to have you. There is a seat ready for you. So right now, there are a few ways you can step deeper into this work with me. There's a nervous system mastery workshop. If you're ready to come out of that survival mode and that stress cycle and actually feel steady in your body again, that's a great way. It's a great entry point. The practice that I share inside nervous system mastery is the exact practice that I share with almost every single one of my private clients, because if we don't learn to regulate our nervous systems first, nothing else is going to land. If we're living in this stress cycle, no matter what you do, nothing is going to hit, right? Nothing's going to change. The other way that you can join us, you can do a 3-day mini cleanse if you're feeling that like end of winter ick and you want to reset and lighten up. And this is through a series of juices and a broth. And I'm going to be doing it myself actually after Easter. You're welcome to join and do it with me. It's just 3 days, or you can do it on your own anytime. And then that leads really beautifully into my kitchen clinic, which teaches you how to add more plants into your life with ease. So like starting with the mini cleanse, right? You're cleaning out your system, resetting your metabolism, and then continuing with the kitchen clinic. It's helping you add more plants into your life on a daily basis without the stress of it and right without the worry. I give you all the guidance and the recipes and the shopping and etc. And And then inside Yoga Soul Rising, that's my membership. And this is where we actually do the work, where we do the practices that I keep talking about, because practice is so important. Think of it as like the lab where the science and the catalysts actually take place, where we take action to create the shifts and change that we want in ourselves. This is where we glow up from the inside out, where we actually feel happier and more grounded and more peaceful and more joyful and more ourselves, more you. I had one of my soul mastery clients say to me recently, like, this is better than therapy. Oh my God, I so love this. And I couldn't agree more. It's not because we're talking about things over and over and over again. It's because we're moving our energy. We're changing our state. We're working with the breath, the body, the chakra system, the nervous system in a way that actually creates change on a cellular level. Deconditioning, rewiring, and reprogramming, coming into that more healed and balanced and activated state of being, the way we experience life. But it doesn't happen all at once. It happens one little step and one little bite at a time. One little growth spurt. One little lean towards the sun. So wherever you are right now, just remember, you don't have to force anything. You don't have to grip so tightly. Let go, even just a little. And watch what begins to grow in its place when we start to let go. I love you, and I'll see you in the next episode. So if you enjoyed this episode today, please share the love, like this video, share it with someone you love, subscribe to the Yoga Eat Love channel. Your support really helps these teachings reach more people. And this is with intention. I want to reach more people. I want to help more people come out of this clouded, unhappy state, because true peace and love starts with us and radiates out. So let's follow nature and move with your energy, not against it. One breath, one practice.